Yeah, this seems like, a very solid deal to me.
Yeah.
Peterborough is a market that hasn't really been on my radar too much, but I actually
Okay.
like looking at, the building you're showing me, the price
Hmm.
point you're showing me, the numbers we're talking, it seems pretty
Yeah.
reasonable. Peterborough's, I Googled it just kind of before we jumped on today, but it's just under 100,000, right? I think like 80,000,
80,000. Yeah.
85,000.
Just over 80,000. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, not too far of a stretch from the east side of Toronto or the
Yeah.
Oshawa-Durham region, which is really blowing up.
Yeah.
I haven't studied Peterborough myself, but I know the whole Durham region over the next 20 years is expected to double in population,
Yeah.
which is what is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here with another episode of Deal Destruction, and today we're going to be checking out a potential duplex conversion in Peterborough with Michael. Hey, Michael, how's it going?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Good. So I'm excited to check this deal out with you. And while I'm pulling up my screen share, so this is going to be potentially your second investment property. So in
That's
the
correct. Yeah.
past, you bought a turnkey duplex in Peterborough?
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. A 3-bedroom up, 2-bedroom down, lots of parking, all that kind of stuff. Big
Nice.
yard, whatnot.
So
Yeah.
similar kind of in nature. This is a bungalow as well. And
Yeah. The other one's it's more like a raised bungalow. So the basement unit, although it's in the basement, it's still got big windows, large windows. It's almost like a side split, kind of what I'm
gotcha.
living in now. And a 2-bedroom down, and then the 3-bedroom up with backyard access and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Excellent. Well, I always
Yeah.
love checking out the photos first. So just feel free to talk about the property
Sure.
as we're checking it out if anything comes to mind.
So nice little bungalow, looks nice, metal roof. All the fascia soffits have been updated,
Mhm.
recently, not super recently. So it needs a new front door most likely. So it's a little dated inside, but the goal with the upper unit is to put in some vinyl plank flooring, update the doors, hardware, some nice lighting, pot lights in the upper unit there in the living room. The kitchen, replace the cabinets
Mhm.
um, in that corner unit there. And then right, that's the door where you can see there going down to the lower
Yeah.
unit. Wall that off and most likely there. I think there's enough room. We saw the property yesterday, put a stackable washer dryer right there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then have that all in the, so it's nice. It's been freshly painted, but I would probably paint it again, update it all. Like I said, new doors, new new trim, new door casings, new closet doors, get rid of the ceiling fans, put in a nice light fixture from somewhere cheap but doesn't look cheap kind of thing,
Mhm.
and then new flooring. So the upstairs pretty standard, except for the kitchen cabinets would be the biggest thing. Oh, actually, in the bathroom too. They probably want a bathroom. So the bathroom's not bad. Nice shower, newer shower, but maybe just take out the vanity and put in a new vanity, and that would be about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a
So the backyard's got a bit of a hill. So like obviously I'm gearing towards family for the upper unit, 3-bedroom. There's nice
mhm.
schools in the area. It's a nice area. So but it's got a pretty good yard. It's a little bit slopey, but I think it's fine.
Mhm.
And then now you're looking at the basement. So pretty much an open concept or open canvas, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, blank canvas for
Yeah,
sure.
blank canvas. So looking to get 2 bedrooms down there. I think it's doable. The furnace is kind of in the middle of the room, so would have to get that moved around.
Mhm.
There might be some water damage, so maybe do some, while it's open now, do some waterproofing in the basement.
Yeah. And we're good for ceiling height here?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
that's fine.
nice.
Yeah.
That's always the big
The only
concern.
thing is when you come down the stairs, if there's one picture that comes down the stairs, the return ducts are right there, kind of on the other
Gotcha.
side of
Yeah.
that. So you would just have to either put minimal ones in or just reroute. We're removing the furnace anyway, so we're just going to reroute it a little bit. So
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And then so just kind of give me a bit of context. What would that once you kind of lipstick the upstairs, what would that rent for?
I'm thinking, like when I did my numbers, I put in 1850.
Yeah.
I'm going to split the hydro when I do a conversion. If this is the property, that'd be the goal anyways.
Mhm.
So there'd be separate hydro, and then I'll cover the heat and gas, or sorry, heat and water, I guess. So 18, I put in 1850. I think that's being pretty conservative. In Peterborough right now, the vacancy is pretty low. And My other duplex upper unit, 3-bedroom, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit different. But I think once they did the renovation, I think as far as pictures and like advertising and marketing it, it's going to look really nice. So I think 1850 is conservative, but 1950, 1975, something like that.
Okay. And then for the basement?
Basement, I'd say 1500. I put in my numbers at 1500.
Okay, cool. And so
If it's a 2-bedroom, I think there's enough room to get the 2-bedroom in there. So as long
mhm.
as it's 2-bedroom, 1500. So
Yeah, it seems like there should be, especially
yeah,
if you play around with the furnace room.
yeah, exactly.
All right. And so you mentioned you've got a spreadsheet or some kind of
I
rough
do. Now,
calculations.
did I have it open? Let me see if I actually even had it open because I had it on. Let
All right, perfect.
me see it.
Yep.
Okay. So I put in, I think the purchase price, actually, if I remember correctly, I'm going to use my computer here just to look at the same. But I think I put in for 430. It's listed for 399.
Okay. And so you're expecting it was just recently listed and it'll likely
Just
go into
recently listed, and
multiples?
they're actually holding offers until tomorrow. So I'm in that position which you don't want to be in as an investor. I'm I'm fighting with the homeowners who kids go down the street, right, or go to the school down the street. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I put it for 430 just as a, maybe it'd be 450, maybe it's going to be 405. I don't know, but I just put in a little bit more, so at least to start with.
Gotcha. Okay. And then it looks like you also did a Burr calculator.
Well, I did a Burr calculator as well too, because I don't think it's necessarily a Burr, because I don't think I'm going to get all my money back. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if that's the basis for a Burr or not, but like I put in for, I think 80,000 on the conversion numbers. So, and then hopefully do a refi after 6 months, 8 months, something like that. And hopefully to at least, recuperate the renovation costs. That's where I was a little confused. I'm like, is it a Burr or is it just like it's a buy and hold? I know that, but um,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. And then I guess one of the big questions is just understanding, what your overall goal is with real estate investing, right? So we've got one duplex already. It's
Mhm.
cash flowing. It's kind of
Yeah.
turnkey doing its thing. Looking at buying the next duplex. Long term, what's the goal with real estate investing?
To make it like a full-time gig. So it's definitely long term. If you were to look at my SMART goals, I guess the like long term would be like, 20 units, 20 doors, something like that. Um,
And then what do you anticipate for cash flow on those 20 units?
like I was looking about 250 a unit, I think, 250 a door, I think.
Gotcha.
I
So
think that brings me to the 5,000. And
yeah.
I was just using that as a number because that's just
Hmm.
like a nice round number. And of course, and you can live off that for a month, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
So
so from a cash flow perspective, have you done kind of a cash flow analysis on this property or should we go through one together?
I kind of did one already. I don't have it. I thought it was going to be on my PDF here, but it's not.
So I always like just starting with a nice raw Excel here just to show
Yeah.
everyone this isn't as complicated as we often try and make it out to be. So
Yeah.
um so for purchase price, it sounds like you were thinking 430 was kind of the target. It's listed
Sure.
for 400, right?
It's listed for 399. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Get that going. If we're looking at an 80% loan to value, we'll be around there. And then I guess maybe just as part of this, yeah, I'll do. So for renos, you were saying roughly 80,000 for the.
I said 80,000. Yeah. I think it's going to be less because I don't live in Peterborough. That's another thing too. I'm kind of distance investing here because I actually live in Brampton. I'm
Okay,
from Peterborough originally, so I know the area and I know people there, and I've got family. So as far as doing some of the work myself or hiring family or whatever, I think it'll be cheaper than the 80,000.
gotcha.
But I was just kind of being a little.
Yeah, and then is it safe to assume that in the 430 and the 80,000 that includes like our closing costs or any other sort of costs associated with it, or
In the 80, no, I kind of had that as no, I didn't really kind of include that in 80,000.
okay? So what for closing costs?
So as far as an appraisal, 400, I guess. What's the other one for 400? Appraisal, 400. Let me see here. Yeah, what else am I looking at? I can't think off the top of my head.
Probably
What else?
say 1,500, 2,000 for legal.
Legal fees, yes, yeah.
And then just land transfer tax if that's not included in the
That's
80,000 rentals.
that's not applicable here. No.
Okay, so I guess we could always quickly calculate on Cash Flow Tribe, but I'm just going to quickly throw in 5,000 for now, and you could
Sure.
always go back and double check
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But so in essence, what we're looking at for our total
But
cost then,
is there land transfer tax everywhere in Ontario, or is that just like a GTA?
so in Toronto, it's double land transfer tax. So
Okay.
it's essentially just one land transfer tax across Ontario, and then the city of
Yeah.
Toronto's implemented its own additional land
Okay.
transfer
Okay.
tax.
Okay. That's where I was confused. Yeah.
So it looks like we're about 517,000 all in. What do you think the after repair value is on this property? Like, what would it appraise for once you fixed up the basement and stuff?
I was putting in for 515.
Okay,
Again, being a little,
conservative. Yep.
yeah.
No, I like it.
It's difficult because one thing in Peterborough that, like, as far as like my agent and the some other investors, there hasn't been a lot of like duplex conversions and then refinanced or after, so there's not a lot of comparables. So really depending on who the appraisal is going to be, what the appraiser is going to be. So 515, I hope it would for sure sell for 515, 550, most likely.
Gotcha.
But whether it's appraised at that is a different question, right?
Yeah.
So that's why, being conservative, I put in for 515.
Yeah. So it looks like we'll essentially end up about 100,000 all in for cash potentially on this property if we were able to get that ARV of 515. So then let's figure out what we're looking at from just a cash flow perspective. So gross rents, you were saying 1850, is that
1850 upper? Yeah, I think was again conservative, but 1850 upper, 1500 lower. Yeah.
okay? Excellent. And then we're going to have them paying their own hydro, but we'll likely still be paying for water and gas.
Water and gas, so maybe 125 each, something like that.
Okay,
So 250.
250. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, no snow removal, nothing like that.
So just have the tenants be responsible for that.
Yeah, but yeah. And my other one, I said I would cover it, so I've been covering it. But and the new one, I think I'll just have that the tenants will cover it. Yeah.
Okay. And do you know roughly for insurance what do you expect, or what's your insurance on your?
I'll say 1,200.
1,200 a year.
It's a little bit. On my other one, it's 1,175, but we'll say 1,200.
Okay. And then otherwise, we'll have property taxes, obviously. So what are we looking for there?
3,100 on this property.
Okay. So
for 2020.
And then property management, bad debt and vacancy, and then repairs and maintenance. So what numbers do you normally use here? Or
I was throwing in 10% for property management, even though I'm going to manage it myself. I put in the 10%, and then 5% and 5% for the
perfect. Yeah, I like those.
So do you have 5% for both? Is that CapEx or is that?
So I guess it does depend upon the individual investor and how they like to run their numbers. Usually on smaller buildings, I'm not as concerned about CapEx, especially when we're kind of stabilizing the building when we buy it. Because my expectation is we probably got a very nice 5 or 10 year run where we're just going to incur general repairs and maintenance. But certainly if you are doing a CapEx, like I wouldn't complain about that. And that's just being more conservative. So again, I think that's always great.
Okay. But I think you're right about that. It's got a metal roof. It's got a 10-year-old furnace. It's,
we're going to be,
I'll do the waterproofing beforehand. So I don't think,
Yeah. Okay. So then just kind of looking at that, our cash flow before debt service. So we're looking at about $2,000 a month. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be solid. So then for our mortgage payment, again, I usually jump around here. Oh, cap lock came on. I usually like to just use what I call the 500-100 rule, which is, oh, that didn't pick up, unlock. Okay. 500-100K rule, which means for every $100,000 we borrow, it costs us about $500. That assumes a 3.5% interest, which I'm sure you'd be able to get a fair bit lower.
Yeah, I think it will be. But yeah, let's be conservative with it. But
And
yeah, I
then
think it'd be quite a bit lower.
20, yeah, especially right now. Yes. And 25-year amortization. But even if we were running with those numbers, we're probably going to be break even from a cash flow perspective, which
Yeah.
once you factor in your real mortgage costs would actually allow you to get to that $250 per unit in cash flow, right?
Yeah.
But just for anyone at home that's curious about that, essentially all I would do is take the total new mortgage amount, divide it by 100,000, times it by 500. That's going to give me my new mortgage payment. And so, and the reason I kind of like using the slightly higher interest rate is just one, we're at historically low interest rates. So for anyone that's trying to do maybe some cash flow forecasting a bit into the future, it builds in a little bit more resiliency or a slightly more robust set of numbers there in case we do start to see a slight return. Oh, I must have done some. Oh no, yeah. So I think that that's just important because in the US, oftentimes people are going to get a 15 or 30-year mortgage product, which, essentially locks them in for the same payment throughout the entire ownership of the property, where for a lot of us Canadians, we're often looking at a 3 to 5 year term, which, opens us up to a little bit more interest rate or payment volatility when it comes to our mortgage.
Right.
But again, realistically, for the mortgage payment that you're likely going to get, I'm going to guess that it probably does work out to, is it $1,500 a month or so?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then in that case, you're actually going to be right on the money in regards to your cash flow number you want per unit, because we're going to be just above the 250. Yeah, this seems like, a very solid deal to me. Peterborough is a market that hasn't really been on my radar too much, but I actually like looking at, the building you're showing me, the price point you're showing me, the numbers we're talking, it seems pretty reasonable. Peterborough's, I Googled it just kind of before we jumped on today, but it's just under 100,000, right? I think like 80,000,
80,000. Yeah, just over 80,000. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, not too far of a stretch from the east side of Toronto or the Oshawa-Durham region, which is really blowing up. I haven't studied Peterborough myself, but I know the whole Durham region over the next 20 years is expected to double in population, which is well above the provincial average as well as the Canadian average for growth projections. So that's also great to see as well, because I'm sure Peterborough will benefit from a lot of that growth.
I agree. And there's a new highway. The 407 goes to the 115 there. There's a university. There's a college. Peterborough's very big on a lot of old people and a lot of young people. So there's a lot of people like this. Like obviously somebody's lived in this house for years and years. They're selling, they're downsizing, or they're retired or whatever. And then there's a lot of student housing rentals as well in Peterborough.
Yes. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this deal makes a lot of sense to me based upon kind of the outline you gave us. I guess the one question I'd be curious, Michael, just talking about your SMART goal and your long-term plans with real estate investing, what sort of timeline did you want to get to those 20 units? Because we've got 2 units now. Looking at buying this one's going to get us another 2 units, gets us 4 total units. So we're about 20% of the way there towards our goal if we close on this. What sort of capital and what sort of timeline are you hoping in order to get to the total 20?
I put down a 5-year, which I was kind of being conservative there too, because even when I was like, in October, I'm like, or September, I'm like, I got to get back into real estate. I have my 1 duplex up and running. Let's keep going with this. The goal was to have 1 more property for this year and then 2 more for next year. So hopefully, that's 2, 4, that's 8 right there after next year. And then at that point, it might be a little sticky because I might probably have to get into some JV situation, because I'll probably be capped out on my mortgages and what I can afford alone. So it really depends on, like, I'm going to be pushing to constantly get one, keep going. If I do buy this one, I saw 4 properties. This is just the best one that we saw yesterday. So I really want to get one soon. So long answer short, let's go for 3 years would be ideal to kind of get those 20 doors.
Awesome. And just kind of talking through that then, do you think, is it only going to be finding the deals? Is it only going to be qualifying for the mortgage, or will you also get tapped out in regards to your down payment capital? Is there
I think the down payment capital is going to be the big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so it's the plan to potentially look at like doing 50-50 JV partnerships with money
Yeah,
partners.
that's the goal. That's what I've been looking into lately, and that's who I've been sort of following on Instagram, like really researching that.
Mhm.
And that's why this one, I really want to make sure I've done this one right and it cash flows. And when I refinance, I get my cash back to pay for the renovation. Because this is my resume going for the next JV, right? I want to show them the videos. I've got my
Yes.
Instagram, I've got my Facebook up, all that kind of stuff. So this is really going to be geared towards like me modeling this. Hey, this is look how easy this is
Mhm.
to park your money here. And what's your return on investment after 5 years? It's going to be hopefully a lot better than the stock market was. So I'm really using this as my resume, this property, and the next one. If I could do two more on my own, that would be
Yeah.
ideal. Or maybe even if don't do the second one on my own, I go in JV right there right away. But yeah, I can't even remember what your question was. I started
No,
babbling
that's a
on
great
it.
answer. And I
Yeah,
definitely love where your mindset's at because I
yeah,
completely agree. If I didn't have all the capital necessary to be able to get to those 20 units by myself, the
yeah.
first thing I'd want to do is make sure the next deal I really document well the entire
Hmm.
process, the procedures, make
Yeah,
sure I take some of those, job site selfies and things like that,
for
just so you
sure.
can really tell that story because there's
Yeah,
really, you know, we often find kind of two common avatars for money partners. Some people that are very just numbers and spreadsheets oriented, and the others that are story oriented. So, we can tell a certain story with our spreadsheets, but other potential money partners, they actually want to understand the evolution of the property, really get to see our expertise or our level of dedication to making sure that product or that project, I should say, succeeded. So, yeah, I absolutely love it. I feel like you're setting yourself up really well here, Michael. And
good.
I think based upon your goals and plan, it seems very practical. And just for anyone at home that's maybe wondering, if Michael's goal is to get to 20 units that he'd own by himself, cash flowing 250, well, maybe, the modified version of this plan, if he doesn't have all the capital himself to buy those 10 duplexes, is like get to the first 4 or 5 duplexes by myself, then JV on the next maybe 5. But in that case, because I'm going to split the cash flow 50-50, I may actually need to acquire 10. But the moment I stop using my own money, now it's just a matter of me finding the deals and the capital. If I'm doing a good job of documenting my investing journey, and if I'm making a decent value proposition to my money partners, which honestly, if your proposition to them is, hey, get 50% of this property and get 125 to $150 a month in cash flow. For a lot of money partners, that's actually quite attractive compared to
Yeah,
the other JV proposals they might be getting, because a lot of people that are investing in the Kitchener-Waterloo, Guelph area, Barrie even, or certainly parts of Toronto and Hamilton, they're often just break even from cash flow. So if you can separate yourself by having real monthly cash flow, it can be really attractive to that potential money partner.
yeah. I agree. I agree.
Awesome. Well, I
Uh,
appreciate you, coming on the show, Michael. If people want to follow along with you on your real estate investing journey, can they? And if so, share your social handles.
Of course, Hopkins_home_rentals is the new one I've got going for this new venture. And then Mr. Hoppy, MRHOPPY is my personal. And of course, I'm posting a lot of kids stuff on there, which I'm surprised they haven't busted in on me yet. I was fully expecting my daughter to come running in at any point. Yeah, so that's it. Hopkins Home Rentals, and then I don't know if you can tag that too if you're going to put that
Yep,
up
we'll
there or
throw it
whatever.
in the
That'd be
link
great.
video description
Yeah,
down below
yeah,
so
and
everyone can
then so
jump
that'd be
over.
great. Yeah, follow along, and of course, always looking to connect with fellow investors in Peterborough. Cashflow Tribe has been great so far too. So, yeah, one question actually before, I
Yep.
don't know if you're wrapping it up, but so what would be like an ideal max offer that I should be looking at? So, say if I do get into a multiple bidding situation because I'm going to be going against homeowners or whatever, like, you've got the spreadsheet open, can we put in 450, 455? What's like, would that still kind of make sense in that respect?
Sure. So I think understanding your business model, I would really be structuring the purchase to make sure that I'm still going to get my $250 a month in
Yeah,
cash flow. So
yeah.
essentially, I'd want to structure in such a way that, assuming that most of these numbers are relatively accurate,
Hmm.
that I wouldn't want to pay more than, I think in this case, like 1571 a month for my mortgage payment. So that would be my max mortgage. So then I would simply use that based upon what I could actually qualify for my mortgage, right? So if, for example, this mortgage payment turned out to $445,000 as my purchase price, then that's my upper limit. So I would really just kind of reverse engineer to make sure I'm setting myself up for that cash flow, because that cash flow is really the crux of your business model. So that's where a lot of people set themselves up for failure as investors, because their emotions hijack them. They're like, the realtor's like, well, just go another 15 and you'll get it, I'm sure. And then they go another 15 and then that becomes 30. And all of a sudden we end up getting caught up in a race rather than really just focusing on the numbers. So in this case, I love the fact you've got a very clear and specific business model of $250 a month per unit in cash flow. So I would really just use that as my guiding North Star. And that's going to dictate the size of the mortgage payment I can afford. And so that mortgage payments then go and dictate the purchase price I can afford to pay.
Okay. So then you're right. Reverse engineer. So figure out what that 1571 is in the larger scale, the full mortgage, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cause who knows, it's taking offers tomorrow night. So I'm going to put an offer in, but like you said, I don't want to be like, just $10,000 more. And then I'm like cash flowing 190, which again, isn't terrible. I still think I would do that, even though my goal is 250. Like I'm so anxious to get into another deal here without overspending, but I think I would still be happy with 200 a month cash flow on per door, right? So, but 250 is the goal. That's right.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, appreciate it, Michael. And for anyone watching this, if you guys want to be on the next deal destruction, we'll throw a link in the video description down below. It's completely free. All you guys need to do is sign up for it and show up on time like Michael did, which surprisingly is actually kind of hard for some of you guys because I was already stood up once today. But again, really enjoyed doing these episodes, and it's a lot funner when someone actually shows up. So sign up, video description down below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.